Hello, Sue here from the Unicorn Advisory. And today we are going to be looking at all of the different types of emails that you have in Kajabi. We have got emails for sequences. We've got our broadcasts, which are like your newsletters. And coming soon, there's even going to be a paid newsletter. So that's going to be email type number 7. We've got our sequences. We've also got transactional emails, event emails, automation emails, and announcement emails. A little bit overwhelming if you are new to the platform, but don't worry, I'm going to step you all through it. So let's jump in. Okay, so in Kajabi, the main emails that you are going to use are the marketing emails, which are in this marketing area under email campaigns. Now, there's 2 different types of emails that you can do under campaigns. We've got a broadcast and a sequence. So a broadcast email is an email that goes out. It's a single email that goes out at any time you choose. Now, that can be for a promotion, that can be for a newsletter that you send out. You can schedule them in advance. So for things like reminders, if you have content that's being released on a certain date, you can set that up. If you are doing a coaching program and you want to send out a reminder about a call, email broadcasts are the way to do that. So you'll probably use email broadcasts the most out of all the emails in Kajabi. So single email. Email sequence, these are your automation emails. So this is a welcome sequence that you might subscribe someone to when they first sign up to a free lead magnet, and you want emails to automatically go out over a period of time, maybe every second day for the first 10 days or something, so you can let people know a little bit more about what you do, potentially even sell them something at the end of it. If you look on yesterday's email, yesterday's training that we did, I went over Evergreen and looked at ways that you can put people from one sequence into another sequence and be able to sell that way. So your sequence emails, you can't control the time that they go out because the sequence starts from the moment someone enters the sequence. So that could be when they sign up to a form, they then get subscribed to the sequence. It could be when they make a purchase that they get subscribed to the purchase welcome sequence. It could be when some other action in Kajabi triggers the start of that sequence, and that is what determines when that will go out. Whereas a broadcast, you can choose exactly when you want that to go out, and you can leave it as a draft and send it in future, or you can actually schedule a date. So I'm going to go through both of these really quickly for you so that you understand a little bit more about the difference. Now, the actual building, they're both going to look the same in terms of building. I'm going to get this area here. Now, this is a little button that I'm going to tell you about. I always use it. It's hidden up here in the corner, but this is the best type of email to use in Kajabi, in my opinion, as an online business strategist. The reason being, as glorious looking as these types of emails are, text emails get more opens. More opens means more eyes on your email. So whilst these pretty emails are very cool and lovely, I do recommend at all possible use the classic editor. You can still insert some pictures into those, but every now and then I do try out these nice templates. I mean, they are gorgeous, but these are more like building a website page, which it's very easy to do, but they look beautiful, but some email browsers don't display them nicely. And because I've got more images and links and things like that in them, email providers can sometimes be more inclined to see them as promotion or spam, and they might not get into the inbox. So you've got the option. You can choose. I recommend for your audience to try it out. Look at your open rate percentages and see. Generally speaking, I tend to find I get a higher open rate percentage, which is the number of people that open and see the email when I use the classic editor. So the majority of my emails will go out with the classic editor. I tend to rave on about that a bit, so I shall stop now. But it's totally your choice. But this here, this isn't the classic editor, this simple text. It's similar to these here. It's just a text version. This one here is the one where it's more like just writing an email in your actual email. I don't even know why I picked that. This is just a random email just to show you what it looks like. So we are going to just create a standard broadcast email using the text-based editor, the classic editor. So with this, the first thing that you will do is choose your recipients. Who is going to receive this broadcast? Now, I did do a training that looked at how to set up segments and filters in the people area, but you can also do it through here as well. So if you have a segment already created, you can just go down and just, click onto mini course members, for example, and that's going to pull everyone that you've, said should go into that segment already, which is, the segment is, it's going to show you owns the product mini course. Now, if you don't have the segment done already, no problem. Or if you want to add something to it, like mini course but doesn't own a different course or something, you can always create a custom segment. You can do this at any time, and you can even have a segment that you add another segment to. You can layer your filters. So we can perhaps send out to mini course but has not visited a page on the site in the last 90 days. So this would be someone who owns the course but has not logged in or been onto the site in 90 days. So you might want to do a re-engagement to come back to them. So that's an example of something that you can do. There are lots of examples. There's lots of cool things with the filtering and the segments. If you have any questions, yes, you can get rid of MailChimp. If you have any questions about segments and emails and filters, just let me know, and more than happy to help you try and work those out. There is a cool feature in the settings area in labs where you can turn the new view of the people area on, which allows you to make that it's even easier to create your segments. But that's for another day. I'll get distracted. Okay, so we've chosen firstly who's going to receive this. Now it's saying that there were no recipients matching because this is my test account. So because this is my test account, I'm just going to send it to all people because I think there's only one in there. So I'm going to remove these, and you can do this as well. You can remove, if you're like, actually, I'm going to change this. I'm going to send it to, all people, for example. And the only reason that I'm doing this is because it may not let me set it up if there's only one. We'll see how we go. Okay, so we're going to continue, and then you can edit your content. Now, with this classic editor, there is a reasonable amount that you can do. It's still mighty fine. So we can put in our subject line. There we go. And can also add in personalization if you've got custom fields. So the one I use the most often is first name. Now, just as an aside, with Kajabi, they use the name field as the standard field in a lot of the forms. If you have just the name field chosen and someone puts in their first name and their last name, if you use this first name personalization, Kajabi is going to automatically pull the first name. So you don't need to worry about setting up a separate field. It's going to do it for you, which is pretty cool. So you can, this is the email. Awesome. Cheers, Sue. So you can go and customize this. You can, bold, you can change this to different headings, make it bigger. You can change color, font size, kind of standard basic editing, not super fancy, but okay. There's a couple of other things that you can do. You can actually add links, pretty easy. You can or copy them if you've got one handy. Oops, can't spell. So there we go, and you can display the text in here. Often I'll do it in a new window. Sometimes I forget. It doesn't seem to. It's okay. Don't stress out as long as the link is right. And then you can format that to make sure that that stands out. You could make that a header and bold it and even make it red so that no one is going to miss that if you wanted to. So you can play around with that. But if there's a way that you wanted to make it even more stand out, and this is across all of the email in Kajabi where it looks like this. There's only one that you can't, two, sorry, that you can't do it on, but most of them you're going to be able to do things like this. So that's the link. This is to add a button. So if you highlight, you can either just add the button and type things in, or you can highlight what you want and go insert button. That, by the way, is the link to go and get Kajabi's awesome special offer. 3 more days to go. You don't want to miss it. Okay, and look, now we have a button, which is very, very cool. And we got to change it. So I'm just going to go back into this again so you can have a look. Oops, that's a new one. So we're going to, if we highlight, there we go. So if you click onto the text in the button, you can go into edit it. So what I did there was I changed the color of the button. So I just put in it was set to black, like that's the kind of default, and that's the button color. I was like, no, I would like to have my own hex color, please. This is the only one that I know off the top of my head. And then we've got the link here. And so that's button means that that's going to go out in your email, which a button looks really cool. People kind of know instinctively to click on a button. And you can also add in images as well. If you just go here, you can upload an image. And the other thing that you can do if you are wanting to include an attachment, you can go upload file. I'm just going to pick something random. What do we got here? What do we got? There we go. This is my standard attachment that I use, the Kajabi webinar checklist. There we go. So what Kajabi's actually done is put it onto the Amazon cloud server that's for Kajabi, given it a URL. So the cool thing is if you wanted to use this exact URL anywhere else, that's where you get the URL. So that's your sort of URL. So you could put that same link somewhere else. I'll do that in a different training. That's getting a little bit advanced, but you can choose the text that you want. We'll do that in a new window. And so if someone clicks on that, when they click on it, it's going to open up and that PDF is going to be there, which is pretty cool. Now, you might want to say, you could put that into a button just by highlighting it and clicking onto the button. And if you wanted to edit the button, because it's already automatically added that link, we'll go, no, we would like that. So you can make it just a link or a button, either or, up to you. And then, yeah, if you did want to change that button color, this is where you come in here and you can just choose your hex code. You can choose, a color if you don't have a color, but, if you've got a hex code, then that's always good. And yeah, and so you've got different things that you can do in your email. Like I said, you can upload an image and add that in here. You can actually also upload a GIF and add that into your email. So to do that, I go to Giphy and pick my GIF. And when I find the one that I want, I don't actually use the code to embed it. I actually save image as and put it onto my computer and then upload that as an image. And that works a lot better with making sure it plays because it's not seen as a link. It's just an image inside your email. Now, one other little trick when you are using these classic editor is to just have one that you've got that you never send. The email perpetually stays in draft. And if you do have like a graphic for your photo or something like that, you might notice that pretty much every email that I send out has a picture of me with a sign-off signature. That's just saved, so I can go in there, cut and paste, and then just put that into the email. There isn't a template in Kajabi, unfortunately, yet. Oh my gosh, I wish there was. Hopefully soon there will be templates that are saved where you can use that template, but for now, you do have to do that each time. All right, so that is editing. I'm going to show you a couple of quick little things with automations. So you can do automations on broadcast emails, but not on sequence emails. So to do a automation, we're going to come back here and I'm just going to show you a couple that I use and then we'll move on to sequences. So broadcast, the reason I'm spending time on this is the most commonly used emails in Kajabi. I mean, obviously you're not going to send something out that looks like that. I'm just trying to show you some different features. But yeah, automation. All right, so an automation that I often used is when a link in the email broadcast is clicked and you can choose the link. So we might want to check when someone goes to download that checklist and give them a tag, for example. Or if we're doing a promotion, maybe you are doing a launch and you want to check if someone has clicked onto the link and then perhaps later in the launch, just before it ends, be like, hey, I saw that you clicked on the link. I can see that you're interested. Is there anything that I can do to help you? So what you can do is if they click on the link, say this was the link for your launch, you can add a tag and you could put Kajabi interest. So if anyone, you could track and see, all right, well, who is interested in this Kajabi promotion that I'm running? Except I'm not running the promotion. Kajabi is running the promotion, $99 for 3 months. Okay, so so that is the tag, and you can save that. And that means anytime that this email is sent, then and the person clicks on the email, they will have a tag attached to their name. You can do that with multiple links if you've got different links and you want to have a different tag for each link. So that is very cool. Now, the only little trick with doing that, it won't work until you've saved the content, because you need to save to actually save what's in there, so it saves the URL so that you can then go back in and then do the automation. So a little bit backwards. It'd be good if the automations came on the next screen after you've saved. So you need to go review and then back to content to set up automations. And then it's just a case of checking and sending. So you can send yourself a test email, see what it looks like, make sure, check your links, etc. I definitely recommend doing that, especially if it's an important email. But if something goes wrong, don't stress. It happens to the best of us. I don't know any online marketer who hasn't sent out the wrong email to the wrong segment, or done something like that. It's just part and parcel. You should celebrate the first time it happens, because you'd be like, yes, I've reached that level. Yes, one time I actually did it last year, and it ended up being the best day ever, because then I sent an apology, and then all these people were like, oh, I didn't even know you were doing that. Somehow, I don't know. Anyway. Okay, so you can send that right now as a broadcast. So you can just be like, all right, it's good to go, send. You can schedule it for later, so you can pick a time. So this is really helpful. For example, if you're running a course and you've got something happening, say, for the next 4 weeks, you could go and schedule all of those emails out in advance, or get your VA or someone on your team to schedule each kind of weekly mail that goes out. So they're all set up in advance. You don't have to think about it. If you are doing a launch promotion, I always recommend to try and get all your emails set up, written and scheduled in advance, because when you get those launch jitters in the middle of a launch and you start going, oh my gosh, am I sending too many emails? They're already in there, they're done, you don't need to worry about it. So yeah, you can schedule, I think it's up to a year in advance. So you can choose the date and choose the time. Now it is going to say, actually, so I'm going to say here. So you choose the date and time. It's going to show you here what time zone that is in, and that's going to be based on your settings. So this is telling me it'll be 6 p.m. Sydney time, as that's my time zone. So you just want to double check to make sure if you've set it to or your computer. I'm not actually sure. I'm not sure if it's in the settings or if it pulls it off your computer. Anyway, it'll tell you. So make sure that that's plan there. Or if you're like, actually, I'm just playing around with this, I just want to draft it, you can just say no, keep it as a draft, and it will just sit as a draft until you're ready. So that's a broadcast. So with a sequence, email sequence, we're just gonna, challenge registration. This will be a series of emails that can go out when someone registers for a challenge. So again, you can choose and send these pretty classic, these pretty emails, or you can just go with your classic editor. I mean, it kind of feels a bit vanilla, but I'm okay with that because I like more open rates. All right, so one thing to bear in mind when you are setting up a sequence is that you can have it will default to setting on day 1, which is actually the next day. If you want it to go immediately, set it to day 0. If it goes to day 1, it's going to be sent 1 day after someone subscribes. So usually I'll send something on day 0. You can set your internal title, and then I'm just going to just put some random content. So this is exactly the same as it was in the broadcast. So I'll do another one using the pretty editor so you can see the difference. So we'll add a new email. So we can each time choose what we want to do. So, you might want to have a couple of them that are prettier. So let's just pick this one, for example. Test 2. And this one we will send out on day 3. So we can change that and we will send that. So this one's actually going to build it a little bit more like you build the web page. So we're going to send this one on day 3. And this one's got an extra little line, which is quite helpful. So this is the little line of text that goes underneath the actual subject line. And this is an often underused area. So it's a little preview text. It doesn't show up on every inbox, but I definitely recommend using it. So let's just say we were doing travel photography. You won't photography workshop. So it's, got a bit of room in here, but generally speaking, Kajabi will tell you if your subject is I'm gonna show you a couple of things. Free. So it's got 2 suggestions here. Get a discount. I'll see if it does it for our. Okay, so it's got some suggestions. So it's saying don't use the spam trigger free. Sometimes it'll come up with a multiple. Usually it'll say you're using too many emojis. Okay, so we've got 2 suggestions here. So then it's got, say, don't use too many punctuation marks. So, consider these suggestions because subject lines can mean whether people open or don't open. So try and think things that are curiosity. Have you seen? Oh, are you coming? That's one that I use a bit. And you might notice I'm not capitalizing it. You want to keep your subject lines really friendly, obviously depending on your audience. But if you make your email sound like you're just writing to a friend, it's just the most helpful email tip that I've ever got off doing a lot of email marketing training. Okay, so we've got our content. So how do you edit this content? Wow, this is actually really pretty. What you need to do is actually launch the email editor. So the email editor for this isn't directly underneath. It's actually going to open up in a separate area. And you can then go through, and this is really similar to actually editing a page, like a website page. It's got sections, it's got settings, and you can set fonts, color schemes. So you can do a whole lot more with this, which is why people really like it. You can click anywhere on it. You'll see these little blue lines. Anytime you see a little blue line around something, that will tell you that that's something that you can edit. So you can click onto that section. We've got an image here. You could choose for the image to go to a URL. You can put an alt attribute on it. And then underneath that, there's a divider section. So that's in here, and it's you choose the height and the color. And then we've got image and text. So this is this image here and a text block here. So, different things that you can do with it. So this is image, text. There's a lot more. You can set the background. So there is, they are pretty, I will admit, and sometimes sending a glorious email makes you feel very happy. So this here, just so you know, this is an actual image that is in this top area. And what they've done is really clever, because if you create an image that has a button in it and have the action go to a URL, someone will click learn more, and even though they're not actually clicking a button, they think they are, and it will take them to where they can learn more. Or you can actually add a call to action button. So you can add a section and it can be a button, so you can add that in there as well. Countdown is helpful if you've got something going on. Announcement at the top. So there's a few different sections. So it's it's optional. I think I still use them every now and then. I test it, but yeah, I always find I get a higher open rate off the text ones only. So that is what I stick to. All right, so that's for our second email. So it's going to say Encore email, which is the fancy email, and we're saying that's going on day 3. So we're going to save that. Oops, and then we're going to go back, and it's going to show us the sequence. So you can build out a sequence, up to 10 years in advance. You can send it a pretty long way in advance. The only thing to bear in mind is that you can't set one to draft. So if you did want to draft out your emails but not have them ready to send, just make sure you put it on day like 3,000 or something, so you don't accidentally forget and you get like 100 days down the track and you didn't go back to it, and suddenly someone will get a random email. Now in sequences, you can do settings to put people in and out of a sequence. You can exclude people who have purchased an offer or who have submitted a form. So if you are trying to sell something, set up a form to get someone to join something, or you want to exclude people who have already maybe done, like say this is for a challenge and you want to get them to sign up to register for the webinar that comes after the challenge, for example. You can exclude, you can pick this form and choose it off the list. If you're selling a product, like say you're selling a mini course, you want to exclude people who've already bought the mini course, or maybe you want to drop people off, like don't email people. Maybe you have 3 emails about the mini course. Some people are going to buy it on the first email. They don't want to get 2 more emails about it. So you can stop emailing subscribers when they meet those conditions, and you can also add automations. So this is what we were doing in our training last night. So when it's completed, you can either give them a tag, or you could subscribe them to a new email sequence, which is pretty cool. You could even send a coupon. You could, grant an offer, like a free offer that comes at the end of it. There's a few different things that you can do with that. All right, so that is our broadcasts and our sequences, the main types of emails that you will use. Now, the reason why these are the main types of emails that you can use is you have statistics and analytics on these emails, which you don't have anywhere else in Kajabi, only under this email campaign. So so for a broadcast, you'll see it like this, and you can click on it here once it's been sent and go straight into the analytics. But on a sequence, you've got to click on report. And this first layer is the report of the sequence as a whole. And then for each individual day, there'll be additional report. Now, we haven't got that on here because this hasn't gone out yet. But as soon as it sends even one email, you'll see the option to click on the report, and then you'll be able to see how that individual email performed. So this is the overall. Then you can check the individual. You can check how well it was delivered, how many people opened, clicked, or unsubscribed. So that is the only place to get statistics. Now, event emails are quite popular because event emails will enable you to send emails based around a time. So like 3 hours before this event, or if it's a webinar, send an email 4 hours after the webinar, for example. So Kajabi will allow you to create these events, so you can do that. However, when you've got your emails that you are adding, you don't get statistics on these. So if you are doing a launch, whilst it's really handy to just say do it 3 hours before the launch ends, personally I prefer to get a calendar and a clock and work out what that time is and schedule those rather than rely on this, because being a marketer and being a strategist, I like to see data. I like to see what's happening. Is this email effective? Am I sending one that's getting a really high unsubscribe or anything like that? So I like data. I've heard for a while that they're going to be bringing analytics to these event emails, but not yet. So it's helpful because you can choose the email to go at the time of registration, at the time of the actual event, before or after. So that's really, really helpful because it's a bit simpler. So if you're not too worried about checking analytics, then it's a great way to do it because it's really easy. And then so you just choose. So let's say that we want an email to go, I don't know, 2 days, hours, like 2 days before. You can schedule it to go, anywhere from minutes, hours, days, weeks, or months. So you've got a lot of flexibility, and then you just build that email exactly the same as we did before. Send yourself a test, preview it in the browser. So, so you got some options there. You just don't have the statistics. So email type 1 and 2 is under campaigns. Then we've got event emails, but there's more. This is the next most common type of email. It's your Kajabi kind of transactional emails. If you go into settings, you'll see these email templates. So these are the emails Kajabi often sends out on your behalf. So often you won't even know where these are, and you'll get it and you'll be like, where do I even find that? How do I change it? And I do think it's a good idea to go through these and update them to be more in line with your brand and how you would say something. Let's pick this announcement notification, for example. So we can see this is set to default, and you can preview this in the browser and you can see it's pretty plain. And it's just going to pull in these fields. So you can't bold anything, you can't add images. These are very just text information, transactional only. You can leave this login here, that's pretty helpful. announcement body. This will come in. I'll show you when we do announcements where that comes in. But, you know, you've got new announcement on product title, which is the name of your program, and then announcement. So you might be like, you know, you could change that to we've got news, and then that announcement title comes in. You know, just you could make it more you and more in line with your business. So something to go through these at some stage and update the content and the text to make it more helpful. There's a lot of them though, so you know, maybe just make it a thing each week or two. You can just do you know, a couple. The main sort of things to worry, not to worry about, to consider is this offer grant confirmation, the double opt-in. If you've gone through the forms training, you'll know a little bit about that. 100% update that. And announcements is another one, and offer purchase confirmation. So that's another one that you might want to change, and then you can go through the other ones as you go. So if you ever get an email and you're like, where is that, and where did that even come from? Pretty high chance it's going to be under these email templates. And yes, unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do to make them pretty, which is why I recommend to use sequences ideally, because even if it just has one email in the sequence, because then you get the stats. All right, so that is the Kajabi transactional ones. We've also got our offer emails, which are also known as the automation emails. So they're probably not offer emails, they're automation emails, but you can send them out anywhere there is an automation. And the most common places that I use these is in offers, and also under the forms area. So when someone signs up for a form, you can choose to add them to a sequence, or you can choose the automation, send email. Now with this, with the automation, if you want to know the difference between sequence and send email, if I know that this is the only offer, that there's not a different price point, if there's not a payment plan, if there's, you know, early bird, not early bird, all those kinds of things, if there's just one, then I usually use the automation, send email. Although, to be honest, I probably tend to use more sequences because, like I said, you can track the analytics. But the reason why I tend to do that is because, say you've got 3 different price points for your product. If you do the automation, when offer is purchased or when offer is granted, then send an email, and you make the email in here. If you want to change that and you've got 3 different offers for the same thing and you just want to tweak it, you've got to change it 3 times. So that can be a little bit frustrating. If you have a sequence, you just change it once and you don't need to worry. It's going to update across all of them. So that's an option. So this is another type of email. It uses the same email like the styling and everything as that classic editor. You can change your subject, you can personalize it, you know, links, buttons, images, upload file, etc. But the cool thing is you can also use that to send it to your team. If you want to get someone on your team notified when there's a purchase, for example, then you can do that. Or you can just send it to the person who purchased. So there's some pretty cool things that I have covered in other training, and I will come back and, you know, go over again if you want to know some cool things that I do with that, such as, you know, if someone fills out a form, then sending you all the information on the form through custom fields, you know, sending an email to someone. You might want to send an email to your team if the payment failed. That could come straight from PayPal or Stripe, but you know, there's lots of different things that you might want to do. We have an automation for a membership that if someone cancels their membership, it sends an email to one of the people on our team to then go and remove that person from the Facebook group when their membership expires. So, you know, options there. So that's another type of emails. You might be like, man, there's so many emails. That's number 5. I'm going to show you the very last one is under products, and these are announcement emails. So these are very cool because these are classed as transactional emails, and transactional emails go on a different email system to the marketing emails. So if someone is not subscribed to your list for some reason and you still want to contact them about your course, there is a way that you can do it. It's a little bit clunky, but I think it's still really effective. And it's also a really good way to make sure that all the people who are in your course find out about, you know, important information. And sometimes you could use a broadcast and sometimes you can use an announcement. Now, this is where you find an announcement. So you go into the product and this will send this to everyone who is a member. So we go into more, go into announcements. Oh, no announcements yet. No problem. We can create one. So this is going to give you a much more simple editor. There is not a whole lot you can do. Link, photo, bold, italic, underline. But you might, you can't personalize it. So you might be like, hi there, don't forget the Zoom call is this afternoon at 6 p.m. Here is the link. See you there. And you can, add the link in here, and you can just send out this simple email. Now, what you need to do is just click on this send email notification about this announcement, and it's going to send it straight out, which is super helpful. Different email systems, so it's going to go to everyone. Not as pretty because it's one of those Kajabi transactional emails. So if you want to make it pretty, you can click here to learn more. It's going to take you through to your announcement email in that settings area, so you can customize it a little bit. And then, and if you forget to do it, if you post it, I do it all the time, just go back, click it again, and press post again, and it'll make a double copy of the post of the announcement, but it will send it out on email to everybody. So it's helpful. The only thing with that is you can't schedule it. It's just a send in the moment situation. So there you go. 6 different types of emails with Kajabi. It's a lot, but if you've got any questions, please do let me know. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.